KTGR, The Big Show, starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome in to Thursday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. It's Andy and Brendan here. Oh, man. I'm kind of waiting on pins and needles to see if there's going to be any transfers that commit to Mizzou here soon. I would have to think probably it's coming the next few days, right? That they will start to get some visits in, everything like that. The anticipation is building now.
I hope it builds into something quick because there is a lot to get done in, I don't know, a moderately short period of time. But yeah, so far it just seems like there's, they're putting out the feelers and we're waiting to see what they might come up with.
So we're going to talk some transfer portal here coming up at 5:05, but we have to talk about Jordan Walker because he just homered again. If you missed it.
And you didn't play today and he homered today.
I guess so. Yeah,
that's impressive.
Catch up a little bit. Is this the year of Jordan Walker? Are we seeing it now? The type of player that he can be for the Cardinals? We're going to talk about that. And big news on the Royals Stadium front today. Kansas City has pushed their chips in for a downtown stadium, it looks like. So we're going to discuss that at 4:25. We want your thoughts on it all with a call or a text, 875-KTGR. Also leave a comment on YouTube and on Facebook. Well, let's get to this first.
Now, The Big Show's Big Deal.
There's a few impressive things about what the Cardinals have done first 2 weeks into the season. And just coming off the series win over the Nationals, I think the clear thing, though, is that there is a big question entering it. And now we're getting a very positive start to the answer, at least. Small sample size, but Jordan Walker looks awesome at the plate. I mean, look, there could be some nitpicking as to okay, is he not facing righties enough? Is that production not there just yet? And so that isn't necessarily indicative of how he could look when you play him each and every day. I don't know. But the fact that he's near the tops of Major League Baseball now, I think tied for at least the lead in home runs, 4 in the last 5 games. You needed some sort of emergence from a guy like that, and we're starting to see it, and we'll see if it continues. That is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 9th day of April 2026. I mean, that to me, Brendan, it's you could say that there are other areas of the team that have been more impressive. If you go to what Michael McGravy has done. Michael McGravy's looked awesome. Certain bullpen guys have looked very good. We know there have been others that haven't. Whether you want to go to other hitters too, but the fact that we went into the season, Brendan, thinking, what's Jordan Walker going to do? This needs to be the year where you start to see some tangible progress. We're only 2 weeks in, but we're starting to see it, Brendan. I think it's here.
Yeah, the regularity with which he is coming up with these big swings, 5 home runs now on the season. I think 4 home runs in the past 5 games, an OPS over 1,000. He's hitting for average. He's getting on base with another walk as well in yesterday's game. And obviously we've seen the power. So it's been a lot of fun to see the consistency with which he's producing more recently. And he does homer against a right-hander yesterday. So that is one of those other aspects that if you look at the early splits, it had been pretty heavily favored toward when he's facing left-handed pitching. But the home run on Wednesday comes against a right-handed pitcher. So he's starting to maybe make some strides in that regard as well. I think the main thing, when you look at the pitches he's hitting out as well, that was a 3-2 pitch yesterday, a slider that didn't get where the pitcher wanted it to go. So it's a mistake pitch. But I feel like he's in those opportunities more than he would have been in previous seasons because he's done a better job of laying off more or less some of the non-competitive pitches, and he's making them throw strikes to him. He's staying in some of these counts, keeping himself alive for those opportunities when they come about, and that's been, I think, the most impressive part about it to me.
Yeah, the fact that, he is more patient. He is doing more of the things that you expect out of professional big league hitters and getting the results for it. I expect that the right-handed numbers will be there too, right? Against the righty pitchers, I know that it hadn't really materialized right away, but again, when you see the signs that he showed yesterday, and this game's all about making adjustments. It's all about gathering the data that you need to realize why you failed and then using it to your advantage later on. I just think finally, I don't know when we maybe expected it to happen because Jordan Walker's still, 24 still or something like that? 23, 24?
I don't think he's even 24 just yet. He's still 23.
23.
Like, double check that. But that, he's 23, turns 24 later.
So, like, that's the process that it takes, and it's not overnight. And maybe this is finally the year where it actually ends up being that for him, because there were times where they maybe needed to restrict him to just facing lefty pitching. But now you don't have to.
Really think that's been the case because he's not been an overly splitty guy that I recall in his career. That's honestly what makes it a little bit strange that he's had the start that he's had specifically against lefties and hadn't really come around against right-handers until we saw the nice swing yesterday. Like, I can recall times where he actually had reverse splits to where it was interesting that they were using when they brought him back up. I want to say if this was last year or the previous year, they called him up at a certain point where he wasn't even really starting, but they said this was kind of the best that they could do with what they had in the organization for a right-handed bat, just to be off the bench or for some select opportunities. There are definitely moments over the past few years where the Cardinals didn't do the best that they could have in prioritizing his development above, maybe the needs of the team or the roster at a given point in time. I feel like now a lot of that is behind the Cardinals, obviously a new regime. And so maybe that's partially what's helping to give them that fresh slate. But yeah, it's seemingly overnight, right? Been a big time change in a positive way for him. And just you're hoping it's something that can continue. And I think the more games that he does something special, like what we saw him do yesterday, the more it feels like it is sticky and it is something that he can keep up.
What does it need to be for you to be like, okay, he's a major contributor now? Like, by the halfway point, what OPS do you maybe need to expect him at for that to be the case?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if he's remaining above 800 on OPS. That's a humongous win for the Cardinals, and I don't, you'd love to see that hold up for an entire season. Right now, he's over 1,000. Like that, is not going to remain. But that's fantastic that you're through 12 games and you can still say that about Jordan Walker. Yeah, if he is a full season of MLB baseball and 800 OPS, he was a 787 as a rookie. If he can hold up that way for an entire year, you're probably going to see, I don't know, 25, 30 home runs if he's able to keep the OPS in that range. That would be huge. That would be, he would have building block status when it comes to, hey, this is a Cardinals rebuild. We don't really know how far along they are in this process or how long it's going to take. But if he's a guy that you can pencil him in for 780 to 800 as an OPS for his career, like that's not something that we've been able to do in the last couple of years, not even close. But if that changes, if the switch flips and he's able to do it for prolonged stretches, that would be huge for the Cardinals in terms of like plotting out what the next 3 to 5 years look like for the organization. Because you'll need some additional power bats to add to him. But I think there was a point in time, and still I think we're not out of the woods yet, where can we really consider Jordan Walker a starting point type of guy for that? I don't know. But again, the more we're seeing out of him where he's just comfortable, he's taking it as it comes. I don't think that there's any more conversation about mechanics and trying for launch angle. And like that is naturally something that seems to happen for players as they get a little bit more integrated into the league. And I don't think he's in a spot right now where every batted ball you're looking at the launch angle and going, oh, is that what we're looking for? I mean, I think he's just going up there and instinctually doing what makes him successful with the mechanics and those sorts of things having been built in the spring. That's where it's different. We've had so many years where we're talking about tweaking those things in maybe significant ways for Jordan Walker during the season. And maybe we get to that point again. But for right now, it feels like what tweaks were made, what overhauls, what adjustments happened either in the offseason or continued into the spring. And they came into the season with the plan of, what everybody wanted it to look like. And right now he's just going out there and doing it.
Yeah. And it was fair maybe for couple of years of that period, like after he debuted, like, okay, let's pay attention to that. Cause again, was debuted as a teenager basically. And then, came up and is still had stints at AAA where they had to work on things with him. Whether that was right or wrong, I don't know. Maybe they sped up that process too much. That's a Mozeliak question that we'll never clearly know what they were wanting to have happen all along with him. I am interested, like now, how the new regime decides to treat it, because I think again, if it's a simplistic approach of, look, just go out there and develop a process yourself that you're comfortable with to be an everyday big leaguer, expect to be in the starting lineup every day, and then see how he adjusts to it. Like that was ultimately, I think, the missing piece for what the Cardinals needed to find out about Jordan Walker and how he went about it. Because, like, you do need to know that for when you are building a foundation for the future. It's just nice now to see, like, look, we're not wondering about this question as much as we may have 2 weeks ago before Jordan Walker started out the 2026 season. And he was one of the main guys that's, you needed to fill in some gray area for. So I think it's good returns, at least for now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're thrilled with the way that it's going and the fact that he's stacking these types of days and these types of games. And like, I was wondering how long would it be until, they do see the results and decide to move him up in the order. And we've seen him in the cleanup spot at points now already. So that has been, that was kind of like a glass ceiling that you shatter and you say, let's get this over with and see if it still looks the same, rather than, worrying about if you're throwing too much at him too soon. I think that naturally that point came where Mason Wynn's struggles kind of continued, and then he had the injury stuff going on, and they had to do some lineup tinkering as a result of that. But I think that almost made it more of a natural transition to say, hey, yeah, Jordan Walker's doing really well right now. You need a potent right-handed bat in that spot in the order. I'd like to see them continue with it now that, we've seen a little bit of proof of concept of him being comfortable there. And like whatever has happened over the number of years between his debut and now, it's been a winding path for sure, but hopefully just kind of keeping that simplified approach he's talked about, not trying to think about mechanics, trying to think about anything but. I think that's more or less the way that it's supposed to be, because if you're so bogged down as seemingly he had been for many years of everybody in your ear telling you all the different ways that your mechanics need to be fixed, and then you're probably getting contradictory ideas from different people that are in your circle or in your ear, and finding a plan that everybody could buy into in the spring seemingly is what has happened, and now it's just about continuing to implement it and make the adjustments where necessary from a game-to-game and series-to-series basis. It seems like right now he's comfortable and doing a really nice job of all of those things.
Call or text us. Is this finally the year that Jordan Walker will put together a strong season? We're only 2 weeks into it, but is this the year that he finally breaks out and becomes a top power hitter for the Cardinals? 875-5847 here on the Big Show. Like, would you say right now, if I hold your feet to the fire, Brendan, best hitter on the Cardinals right now, is it Jordan Walker?
No, like I'm going to lean on probably the history that we've had for a guy like Ivan Herrera, and say that
sure,
there's a chance we see JJ Weatherholt get to a point where, he forces the issue on that conversation. But no, I'm not going to overreact to the first 2 weeks, because I think there's a ways to go to see it over a sustained period of time. Like Jordan Walker had a sub 600 OPS last year. So no, I'm not reacting to it in that way, but every day that it looks good is a day that you can, feel good about it. But you had 2 strikeouts in the game yesterday as well. Like you're going to take the good with the bad, as long as he's continuing to, on a regular enough basis, have these impactful swings. Even if it's like a Jordan Walker success story that sort of mirrors the way we think about Nolan Gorman, where, yeah, there's going to still be a decent amount of strikeouts, and there's going to be some moments where, he's off balance and he's fooled by a pitch, or he's undisciplined in a moment. Like, are you able to bounce back from that? And the body of work over 6 months ends up looking closer to the way that you want it to look. I think it's still a work in progress, but again, I mean, it's early until it isn't. So if he continues looking this way, then it will be time to reframe and rethink about how we view Jordan Walker and his potential to really be a cornerstone piece for the Cardinals.
Well, maybe reframed this way, maybe a different question. But right now, if the Cardinals are in a situation where they're in a runners in scoring position spot and they got to have it, like whatever it is, game's late, 8th, 9th inning, you're either down a run or you're tied. You got to have a big hit. Which hitter do you think right now is most likely to deliver that biggest hit? You obviously can't choose who's up, but
Alec Burleson.
Who is it? Now that's a very good answer. Like, yeah, that's there. But I think Walker's up there too. Like, I'd at least put him in the top 2.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. His home runs have been great to see, but it's small samples still. I'm not like doubting that this is something that he can continue to do. I think his process has been much, much, much improved. But I still feel like a little more body work for a Burleson. Even Ivan Herrera probably is somebody that I'm comfortable with having those sorts of at bats. I think he'd probably be third though for me. And I would not have made that comment 2 weeks ago. But how sticky can it be? Can we be still saying this in 2 more weeks? Can we be saying it in a month, in 2 months? Can we be saying it in the second half of the season? There's still a long way to go, but you cannot. It's been wonderful. Like, there's really nothing to say about what we've seen from Jordan Walker so far to poo-poo it, other than we just need to see it for a longer stretch of time and then be able to really get excited. I think people were so excited about him when he first came up, and then you're into a situation where you're lost in the desert for several years on Jordan Walker, and it, the outcome seemingly could range anywhere from he's going to completely wash out of the league, or they're going to trade him because they just, like they did to a Dylan Carlson, where it was untenable anymore, versus like being able to find his way all the way back to being the type of player that everybody thought or hoped he could be when he was a prospect. Like, I think the range of outcomes is still pretty wide and vast on where Jordan Walker could land, but you're starting to be able to dream again a little bit on some of those upper ceiling type of outcomes for him.
So call or text us. Is this the year of Jordan Walker? 875-5847 here on the Big Show. If you want to chime in on how the Cardinals have started 7-5 so far this season. And look, that's been a big part of it. I think the fact that they've been able to stabilize things in the rotation, or just like how guys have looked there, has been at least maybe the biggest driving force for it.
I don't know that there's been a biggest driving force for it, to be honest with you. I don't think that there's
not
been one
thing.
aspect. No, because they're not great in any one area.
No.
Like, you can look at Jordan Walker's numbers and be like, that's awesome. Look at the rest of the lineup. They got guys in the 500, 600, 700s on OPS. You could look at the rotation and say, yeah, there have been some good moments. I felt like the game earlier this week, they needed Liberatore to go deep, and he didn't do it. But the bullpen came in and bailed him out after a 5-inning, 4-run start. McGreevy was great yesterday. Struck out one guy. I don't think that's necessarily sustainable, but that's the way he's going to pitch. And so if he settles in more like a number 3 because of that lack of swing and miss ability, right now he's pitching like a 1, right? Now, if he kind of finds his level at number 3 and he's a mid-rotation starter, that's still very valuable in the big leagues. And the Cardinals can then say, all right, we can check that off our list for the long run. Like, we've got Michael McGreevy for a good long while. We feel good about the way that he pitches. He will be susceptible to the contact, hard or soft, finding a hole. There are going to be days like that if he struck out one batter yesterday, but he didn't walk anybody. So, like, you're feeling good about that. Dustin May's ERA is 16. We're going to see him tomorrow night, but that is something that's got to come around before I would then say, oh, the rotation is really driving the bus here. I think that it's only been 12 games, but the Cardinals have a winning record because they've won in the way that they have to with a roster that's not top 5 or top 10 in baseball. But they played a roster this week that's probably bottom 5 in baseball in the Washington Nationals. Got to win 2 out of 3 when you play those types of teams. So they're answering the bell so far, though, but it's as a team. I just don't think that there's one aspect, because one day it might be the bullpen, because the 2 guys that you had to pitch because they were the only 2 that were available throw 4 innings and give up 1 combined run, like we saw from Graceffo and Soriano on Tuesday. But then yesterday you say, man, we really could use McGreevy to go 6 because that bullpen's beat up a little bit. And then he does it. Jordan Walker homers. Like the team aspect of this, Andy, it feels like a hard thing to project that you can keep, that is going to be sustained, because it's not that one thing that you can say you can always rely upon this aspect of the Cardinals being there. I don't really think you can, but for them to be doing it as a team and pretty much, I won't say 1 through 26 because the bench is still a little bit, they don't use the whole thing, but like 1 through 25, they're doing a nice job to be able to find those close wins, win those close ones, to get to a 7-5 record through 12 games.
And like season long, that probably projects as a team that's, fine. Not great at one area, but is going to be competitive and cause issues for other teams that maybe are superior to them. And then they have a hard series, and the Cardinals are like, the Cardinals will have a series win against, not absolutely the Dodgers, but a team around that area that will be like, okay, yeah, that was pretty darn impressive. And then there will be some more downs, but like that kind of projects out to what I think a lot of fans hoped that they would be. And it's just a brand of baseball that mainly you're trying to hang your hat on. Doesn't mean that they're going to, they'll push maybe for a playoff spot if they continue this for a couple more months. I don't know if it's sustainable enough to ultimately get you into the playoffs or into a spot where you're favorable to move on, but it's at least something to where when you add pieces in future years, you've got a little more of a bedrock that then allows you to not have to rely upon those big time free agents to save you. It just allows you to give more of an icing on the cake type of feel to it.
Yeah, because they had holes on their roster in previous years where it's like, hey, we have to go out and purchase in the free agent market 60% of a rotation this year. And, they did that to the degree that they could with guys like Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. They said Sonny Gray was going to be the big splash of that offseason. And like they held serve. They were in the mix, but I think they didn't have the core that they were adding to that was significant enough to really be able to push them over the top. They would love to see 2026 go in such a way that you feel like the core is there. The pieces that you would add aren't the ones, like you said, Andy, that are needed to save the roster from being deficient. It would be supplemental to something that's already pretty solid, and sustainable. So that's the hope. You cannot declare through 12 games that it has already occurred, but I think the more they play the style of baseball that we've seen over the last dozen games, the longer they're able to keep that going, the more it becomes just simply who they are. And it does become something that you can hope or expect to be a sustainable aspect of the way they do business.
So call or text us with your thoughts on the Cardinals. Been a pretty impressive start so far, 7-5 to finish the first couple of weeks. We'll see what they do against the Red Sox this weekend. 875 KTGR is how you reach us with a call or a text. Also a comment on YouTube and on Facebook. You'll be able to see those. We'll flash them up on the screen. In the meantime, we're going to talk next about big news in Kansas City. It seems that there is a prevailing answer now to what the Royals are going to be doing in their stadium situation. The question I do have for folks listening, though, is are you cool with it? You cool with this proposal that very likely will come to fruition? We shall see in the coming days. Call or text us with what you think. We'll discuss the news of the day in Royals land here on The Big Show, KTGR.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company, coming out of the really cold weather periods, and you're thinking about the road trips that you want to take this spring and summer. Don't forget about checking up on your tires, though. Make sure that they are in good shape for those long road trips, and head into Lee's Tire Company because they're the tire experts. They've got a huge selection, and they have so many ways to give you money back in your pocket whenever you buy new tires. You $140 back on select sets of 4 Cooper tires, or $180 back on select Goodyear tires. There are so many other deals that they run each and every month. You can find them at leastirecompany.com. You can also go there to browse their full selection, put your specs in, see what they've got available to you, and then head into Lee's Tire Company on the Business Loop in Columbia, or at University Garage by the MU campus, or their location in Centralia. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leastirecompany.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8943. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8943. That's 800-575-8943. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Hi, my name is Matt Curtis, and I'm an exteriors project specialist for True Sun Exteriors. True Sun's been around for over 15 years, and in that time, we have really expanded all the services that we provide to homeowners. We do full-on interior remodeling, but we got our start in exteriors. We have always been known for roofing. Most of our roofs are done and completed in about a day's time. We have a lot of different options for designer shingles and colors, and we also do metal roofing. It could be ag panel and or standing seam with multiple colors. We know roofs can be a big investment, so we offer several different financing options with any and every budget. Just give us a call and we'll come out and evaluate your home.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com. Doors have two jobs, open and close. Pretty simple. And windows? They're supposed to be clear, not foggy. And they should open and close too. This is Silas Coons with Coons Glass. If you've got doors or windows that are slacking on the job, call us for service work. With 15 service trucks, Coons Glass is the clear choice for commercial or residential. CoonsGlass.com.
Coons Glass, and you can see through it, we do it. They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
Cardinals obviously looking pretty good on the field so far through 2 weeks. Royals, on the other hand, on the field, it's been meh. I mean, it quickly on the field, it's not like they lost to the Guardians this week in their midweek series, essentially. Lost 10-2 yesterday. The offense is not getting the results yet, even though I like the underlying process things that are a little bit better than they were last year. Like they're drawing more walks, they're working counts more, they're getting starters out of the game a little bit sooner. Guys down the lineup are hitting a little bit better. I'm waiting for that to finally like produce just more higher scoring games, but I guess that just hasn't materialized yet. Well, I can dream though.
Yeah, I mean, that's the recipe. And then you just have to hope that the pitching, as good as it has typically been for them, stays that way. And those two things can kind of combine to happen at the same time. That's what it's going to take for them to really be able to take off.
But maybe the either unfortunate or maybe you call it fortunate part about how the Royals have started is that's being overshadowed today. Big news, Brendan, in Kansas City. The city of Kansas City. It's going to sound redundant a little bit, but that's technically how we refer to it. The city council was introduced a plan. The mayor, Quentin Lucas, introduced a proposal today to bring a new Royals stadium to Washington Square Park, which is right near downtown, and have it be a $1.9 billion stadium project at that spot. The funding mechanism, according to the Kansas City Star, local money would be $600 million contributed to that project. There's obviously also the state plan that they passed in a special session last year to try and keep both the Royals and the Chiefs in Missouri. Obviously, it didn't work on the Chiefs front, but could work here. And the governor did put out a statement, so they're obviously paying attention, which could cover up to half of the project. And that's all being worked out. It was introduced to the city council today. It's going to go to committee. They're going to iron out details there. If it makes it out of committee, the city council can vote to approve it as early as next Thursday. And again, this is just the city making their ploy. Like the Royals, all they did was put out a statement today because they had to. It's not them necessarily putting this plan together. It's the city saying, hey, here are our chips. We're putting them right in the middle. We want you to be right here. And if it ends up happening, Brendan, like we spent several years going back and forth as to where the best place was going to be, and this was always there as an option, and we're ultimately just going to come back to this. It kind of makes me think, like, what were these last few years for? Like, it just seems like the obvious place to put it. If you really want to be downtown and you really want to liven up this area, like, this seems like the best place to go. But this was a major step today towards that goal.
Yeah, and like I don't think that the primary goal was of like the organization. You ask like why are we taking this winding path to end up where we should have probably ended up anyway? I think you see what happened with the Chiefs. Kansas is giving the Chiefs such a sweetheart deal to move to Kansas, and like it's a objectively bad business deal for Kansas. But then you have the team, so that's the trade-off that's being made. I think that like Royals ownership, I don't think had the goal of like let's have it downtown and let's. I think you're wanting the best deal you can get for yourself, and like if this ends up being what it is, and it has the ancillary benefit of also making sense in the larger structure of downtown Kansas City, that's great. But I think we've seen enough of these go down that I don't think it was about the bigger picture and the greater good. It may end up being that we get that type of benefit anyway, though.
Well, certainly for Kansas City, it's a win. The Kansas City, Missouri, I would clarify there that they get to keep that in their footprint, and that clearly because the Royals aren't going to be using Kauffman any much longer past 2030. It just seemed that though when the Royals explored so many other options and like they bought the mortgage on the Asperia campus, like just across the state line. And basically the folks around there in Leawood were like, we don't want you here. And then they explored North Kansas City, which if they had gone there, like that would have felt a little bit the same as the Truman Sports Complex setup. Like, are you really in the center, or is it just another setup of like what you had before, but just it turned 90 degrees into the north instead of the east? And then just this spot, I know they had voted down the Crossroads district, which is right near it. This wasn't necessarily the spot that they voted down, but like this is an area that, like, when you think about landmarks in Kansas City, Union Station, the World War I Memorial, it's all right there. This is right across the street from Union Station. You've got the Crown Plaza right there. Like you've got a big shopping center that could get a whole lot more business now because it had kind of been falling off a little bit here recently. Now you can kind of liven up that spot again. It just seemed that if Kansas City was trying to make this happen and something was holding it up, then maybe they could have saved themselves a little bit of angst and not allowed Kansas to get their ducks in a row and say, hey, we've got a plan, and whether it actually works or not, we'll see. It worked for the Chiefs side, but it seems for this particular instance with the Royals that Kansas City, if all goes well, like over the next week or so, like still some administrative stuff that has to happen, and the public obviously will have to voice their concerns about it if they have any. But it seems that it's going to end up with the Royals being downtown. which I'm also curious as to how fans feel about that. Because, downtown versus where the Royals were and whether there's benefits or drawbacks to whatever it was. I am curious how people feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting. I think it's a benefit, right, overall. I mean, I think it would be a benefit to have the team in a place where you're trying to enliven up the area, and they'll build up around it, obviously, with the big development. So, yeah, I mean, I think that most people would be in favor of it. Like, if the Chiefs are leaving the Truman development anyway, it's not like you're going to be sentimental about. I mean, everybody will be sentimental about the K, but at the same time, like, I feel like that the K as we knew it, the Truman Sports Complex as we knew it, is no longer going to be the case. So Royals get themselves in a good situation the same way as the Chiefs have been doing by going to Kansas, which I'm not fond of, but like for them, I think it's a good deal.
And downtown stadiums, like, they work. I mean, clearly we know that with Busch. We know that with several other cities that have made it work. And for folks that think, is it too cramped? Like, are they going to have enough parking? They'll figure it out. Like, there will be ways that they can liven up that spot to not only have the footprint of what the stadium needs, like to make it fit within whatever block that you've got at Washington Square Park, but to also have the development around it so that you can have the fan experience you want. Victor texting in, the idea of having a Royal Stadium in downtown stinks, in my opinion. Kaufman has been home for over 50 years. That said, if it means keeping the Royals in Missouri, I suppose there are worse options. Like, I would rather them take Kauffman Stadium and push it somewhere else.
That's not a thing, though.
You can't do that, though. That's
not a thing.
That's what you gotta have to realize. So, like,
look, anybody that's building a stadium nowadays wants the Super Ballpark Village around it, right? Like, feel like the Cardinals in the Busch complex, they built that ballpark village, and then a lot of other teams that were then going to build new stadiums were like, ooh, let's do that and make it even bigger and better now that, like, we've seen what a proof of concept looks like. And then you've got the Battery in Atlanta. You've got, different play. Wrigleyville has really spruced up with some of the team function sanctioned, whatever you call it.
San Diego does really good
the buildings
with it.
that they've built up. San Diego's got the district around their ballpark. So, like, I feel like that's the one thing that obviously with where the K and Arrowhead is, you are lacking very sorely. There's just nothing around it. And so to modernize the way that a lot of organizations are doing that now, you got to have the space to do it. You got to have the money and the backing to do it. And so if there's the space to do it downtown and you can build up around it, make it something cool, I think a lot of people are going to be in favor of it. And I also think if you're a joint Royals/Chiefs fan on the Missouri side, you'll just be glad that they didn't go to Kansas too, which would have been an annoying outcome for sure.
Well, it sure seemed that Kansas didn't even want him. So that's also part of what made this happen, it would seem. And look, it's not even a spot where you need to do a ton around it. You can kind of use the infrastructure that's already there and just use it to your advantage to bring more people in with how it's going to look. Because you're going to have whatever money you need to build a very nice stadium. It's going to be state of the art, obviously, the way that these stadiums are nowadays, which is going to be cool. And then you've got still some space to build, what you're talking about, those districts that can kind of add to the allure of it all. But stone's throw away from some other spots in Kansas City that could use a little bit of that help, and that infrastructure is still kind of built in already. And so adding this kind of allows it to be more of a destination. So look, I think clearly the best thing, I am not going to sound the alarm too much on I guess there's a possibility that the Royals themselves would only be contributing like $300 million to this if like the full state plan was utilized, if they really do cover half of it, and then the city's already covering a third of it, and that leaves only John Sherman's only got 1/6 of the whole project to pay, and it's his building, and the land is the states, and they're not the states, but the cities, like, because it's an actual park that is owned by Kansas City, and they're basically giving them that land. Like, it's whatever. Like, I'm over like trying to really beat down the drum of how wrong it is, even though it is wrong that it's on the backs.
Oh, it's so
of these,
convenient, Andy. Now that it's the Royals, it's the local team. Now you're into it. Now that it's the local team, you like these publicly funded stadiums, huh?
I don't like that. I like stadiums. That's what I like.
Well, that's always been the challenge.
I'm living in reality, coming back to reality as to where these stadiums come from.
We're going to remember this, though, the next time in another city something like this is happening. We're seeing, honestly, Andy, the willingness of places like a Kansas to make a objectively bad deal for their taxpayers and their citizens from a financial standpoint.
Yeah.
And just say, here you go, Chiefs, we're going to give it all to you. Like that landscape. And with the Chicago Bears, we're seeing it similarly. Indiana said, well, shoot, we'll take your team. Indiana can have it, and we're going to give you a sweetheart deal. We're seeing that in a number of places where it's just the nature of the beast. Now, you mentioned it. If Kansas wasn't interested in then ponying up similarly for the Royals, that's why maybe this really ends up looking like a sweetheart deal in the end for going to downtown Kansas City on the Missouri side. But because of within the last 12 months or so, seeing the examples of in professional sports, the teams themselves getting these deals from locations and states that don't have the NFL or don't have MLB, and so they're going, hey, we'll do this for you, and it worked seemingly once with the Chiefs, and maybe I don't know if the Bears thing's been finalized, but that would be another example of it. You know, that's kind of the reason the balance of power is tilted even further away from, you know, local officials making good deals and saying, oh, well, if we don't want to lose our team, we're held over the barrel, and that's what we have to do. Look at St. Louis, and you don't have to look much further than that, where St. Louis kind of thought, oh, we don't want to end up with a worse deal, and then like you're left in the dust and your team's gone. So that's kind of it's an extortion tactic that can be used very effectively by the organizations, and seemingly that's been the trend.
Because they only care about money. Like that was the whole Chiefs thing. Like they made that move because all they care about is money. That's it.
And that's why it took this long to get to the downtown location for the Royals, is because Sherman was hoping they could get a similar great deal like the Chiefs ended up getting, and didn't care if it was Kansas or Missouri. That's the reality of it. They can send out statements and releases and, you know, put out the flowery PR type of talk, but at the end of the day, it's the money first, second, and third on the priority list.
So again, this is the biggest step in that we've seen in the last few years of there being a solution for the Royals and their stadium question. What will they do post Kauffman Stadium? It seems that the city of Kansas City has put together a proposal to have them build a stadium at Washington Square Park worth nearly $2 billion. According to the Kansas City Star, city's pitching in $600 million to that, and giving up the land at Washington Square Park too, to build it right next to Union Station and Crown Center, World War I Memorial Museum as well. And looks like the Royals, if all that goes well, it can be voted on as early as next Thursday by the city council. And if it gets approved, you'd have to think that the Royals will be taking that deal. How do you feel, Royals fans, about a very strong possibility now of a downtown stadium for your team in Kansas City? 875-5847 if you want to call or text us, weigh in on that. In the meantime, we're going under the bus to the tabloidy thing that we do in the NFL, I suppose, when it's April. We talk about relationships between insiders and coaches. And this one is definitely making the rounds over the last couple of days. We'll get to that next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Again, Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas introducing a plan to the city council today to bring a new Royals stadium to Washington Square Park, just south of downtown Kansas City on the Missouri side. The city council can vote to approve that plan as early as next Thursday. The Royals have been in search of possible sites for their new stadium after confirming that they will no longer occupy Kauffman after the lease ends at the end of the 2030 baseball season at Truman Sports Complex. Meanwhile, on the field, Cardinals off today as they get set to take on the Red Sox tomorrow for the start of a 3-game set. Cardinals just took 2 out of 3 from the Nationals on the road. Royals lost 2 out of 3 at the Cleveland Guardians, losing 10-2 yesterday. They start a 4-game set tonight at Kauffman against the Chicago White Sox. First pitch at 6:40. And Mizzou baseball starts a new series against South Carolina tonight. 6:45 first pitch at Taylor, or 7 o'clock first pitch, 6:45 pregame start right here on KTGR. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with the Boone County Office of Emergency Management. Sign up for Smart 911 emergency alerts. Ready.boonemo.gov.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking increasing clouds this evening with rain and storms moving in after midnight. Expect a soggy Friday. We'll start out morning temperatures in the upper 50s with highs only making it to the 60s. Showers and storms work from north to south, exiting the area by early evening, leaving us with mostly cloudy skies. We'll drop into the low 50s by Saturday morning. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the High School Sports Power Player of the Week.
This week features Hickman senior catcher Landon Durnill. Last week, Landon hit a walk-off RBI double in the 15th inning to help defeat Capital City and hit his first career home run in another victory over Marshall. Landon went 5 for 12 at the plate for the Cupies last week.
That's the Power Player of the Week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Play it or plunge it with Brian Ware Plumbing.
We need towels, lots of towels, every size and every kind. I was confident 30 seconds ago, but now I'm losing time. We need towels, lots of towels. I cannot stop the tide. My wife was right, I should have never DIY'd.
Vote now on the Brian Ware Plumbing Facebook or Instagram page. Nobody wants to be picked last or finish last in the standings. Last strike of the last inning? Nope. And you never want to be the last one finishing your laps at practice. So when baseball and softball season get here, don't wait until the last minute to gear up either. Head to Play It Again Sports in Columbia. They've got everything your athlete needs for the upcoming baseball and softball seasons, plus gently used equipment too. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first so you don't finish last. PlayItAgainSportsColumbiaMo.com.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. And since you've got a nice large tax return this year, you've got the ability to put it towards something that lasts, like updating your bathroom with modern light fixtures or new kitchen lighting that pops. And Midway Electric is the team of pros you can trust to bring those dreams to life. From custom lighting to complete electrical upgrades, Midway Electric helps transform the spaces you use every day. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
You could be right in the middle of celebrating a big win, and all of a sudden, bang, you've got ants on the counter or mice in the garage. Hi, I'm Mike Kelly. As someone who's called buzzer beaters and game winners for 3 decades, I think the best call that you can make is to Steve's Pest Control. I'm on the road a lot during the season, which is why I've signed up for Steve's 5-star pest control program. It's comforting to know that even when I'm not home, Steve's Pest Control is protecting my house from termites and other pests. Plus, the 5-star program keeps the pests at bay, controlling and eliminating them before they have a chance to enter your home. Scheduling is incredibly easy. You don't even have to be home. And if a pest problem pops up at any time, Steve's will perform a retreat for no additional charge. Call Steve's Pest Control today and ask about their 5-star pest control program so you can kick back, relax, and enjoy the game.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control. I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Hypnosis only $59.99. Thursday, April 23rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Or Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
What happens when a chef, 2 pharmacists, and a financial analyst walk into a bar? They buy it. And then they tell people from all walks of life to come enjoy it with them. Big flavors, bigger burgers, local brews, handcrafted drinks, and a game of pool or two. See, billiards was built by people like you. A teacher, a receptionist, and a cashier walk into billiards. What happens next is up to you.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
Call your shot at billiardsonbroadway.com.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Okay, so I think with the whole Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel stuff that's come out here recently, I think I fall back on, there's nothing like really sinister going on there. It's probably harmless. That
Harmless
said,
in what way?
Like they're not having an affair. Like that, I don't believe that. You believe that?
What else would it be?
I don't believe that at all.
We're living on completely different planets.
Yeah, we are. What's going on? Why do you think that?
They're photographed in complete private at like a lover's resort holding hands miles and miles away from where the NFL...
them holding hands, but okay.
Right, there's a picture of them holding hands.
One.
That's more than 0.
Okay.
At a lover's resort in Arizona, miles and miles away from where the NFL league meetings were held, and you're like, there's nothing suspicious about that.
Well, they were held. Well, first of all, it was like after the league meetings. It was like almost kind of crossing paths a little bit. And then, by the way, the pictures don't come out until after those meetings are done. And then after the Final Four, I think very notably,
okay, so the people
whoever
that
did this was very
was
strategic in how they were doing it.
Yeah, in revealing what was there to be revealed, though. It's not like they tricked them into a meeting there to have the photos taken. I don't know how you could possibly look at that and not think it's extremely suspicious. They're both married.
I can agree that it invites skepticism, and that's why it's not a good look for either of them, even though only Rossini seems to be the one that's catching strays for it, and Vrabel's kind of getting off scot-free, which is a whole other discussion. But, like, really? You feel like you know exactly what's going on there?
I've never been more certain of anything. Like, what are we talking about? What
really?
Are we talking about?
Really? You've never been more certain of anything?
Well, that's a little bit hyperbolic. But
yeah.
If I would, you know me, I'm a betting man.
If I'm betting, I'm definitely saying there's not a relationship going on that is intimate in what you're talking about. Okay, relationship in that both like.
What is the explanation that makes sense to you for why they were both there? I'm fascinated.
That I don't know the context of what was happening at all. That's the explanation. There's no explanation.
You had to guess what the context was. This is wild. No, I didn't even think this was controversial. Like, it just seems like come on. What would the explanation for a photograph like that be?
I don't know. I don't know these people.
If I were a married person like I am.
Oh, but yeah,
and I show my wife, say, hey, look at this photo. What do you think? If that's me and another woman, what would you think about that?
Both Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel have some splaining to do to their spouses, no doubt. I'm predicting that there's nothing going on there.
You are, it is adorable.
All right. Look, they're under the bus for a reason. Like I'm not disputing that. It's not a good look.
What actually is a problem, if there is anything beyond a colleague type of relationship there, a reporter, reportee relationship there. The different scoops that she has seemingly had always revolving around the Titans when Vrabel was there in Tennessee, and now the Patriots with the A.J. Brown stuff. I am more than a skeptic of the situation, and there is definitely a lot of questions there. But how many of them become answered, I have no idea. But you're right. Somebody wanted to expose something, is my opinion on how the photos came out. But that's secondary, I think, to what the photos may have shown.
I mean, we weren't putting it in this part. We were putting it in under the bus part. I get it. But,
there's nothing sweet about it.
No, nothing there. What's sweet is the Masters have begun, and a tradition unlike any other, and the great tradition of Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tom Watson opening it up on the tee shot there. I've never known exactly how they decided on those three. Obviously, they've won a bunch of Masters between them, like 11 combined. So, like, there's that. But, like, I'm also, like, kind of cool that it's those three. Like, you don't need an explanation. Just enjoy these three people that are awesome to the game.
Yeah, it's been fun to see some of the golfers do well today. Not very many of them on my Masters draft team.
I guess we'll update that here very soon. All right. Could Mizzou be bringing in a former Jayhawk as a transfer? That's next. Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions, and they want to remind you that coming up later this month is Arbor Day, Friday, April 24th. It's a great time to remind yourself of how important our trees are and how important it is to care for them, because over 15 billion trees, yes, billion with a B, get cut down each year. And obviously growing new trees is a very long process. So Advanced Tree Solutions doesn't just cut the trees, but they care for them. They can have them grow back stronger each and every year, diagnosing what's wrong with them, telling you what the best plan is for your trees going forward. And Eric is excellent to work with. He can come to your home and tell you what your trees need. And of course, if you want new trees planted, you can ask him about that too. So go to AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com and keep your trees in mind as we get closer to Arbor Day, Friday, April 24th. Go to Advanced Tree Solutions and see what Eric and his team can do for you. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
1851 Underground Tap and Grill in Fulton loves celebrating a change of season. Spring means new flavors in the specialty cocktail menu, as well as seasonal beers. At 1851 Underground, spring also means the Cards and Royals on TV, with the new hope of a new season. Plus plenty of space with pool tables and a beautiful wraparound bar. Find them on Facebook for daily specials too. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Lose weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis Guaranteed or your money back, only $59.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also, stop smoking with Hypnosis. No matter how many times you tried to quit, this Hypnosis is designed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis Thursday, April 23rd, Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City. Weight loss Hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking Hypnosis 8 p.m. or Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Weight loss Hypnosis 11 a.m. Stop smoking Hypnosis 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. Ahead of tonight's game against the Rockets, 76ers center Joel Embiid diagnosed with appendicitis and is undergoing emergency surgery. Not yet known when he might return to the court. Phillies fighting to avoid the NBA's Eastern Conference play-in tournament. After missing the last game due to foot injury management, LeBron James back with the Lakers lineup at the Warriors tonight, 9:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. With the injured Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves still out, James will continue to carry an increased workload. ESPN NBA reporter Dave McMenamin.
LeBron James will be asked to be a screener in the half court, play off the ball, and continue if the Lakers get steals and deflections and long defensive rebounds, go out and try to score in transition. He certainly recognizes the moment the Lakers are in. They're a game and a half back of the Denver Nuggets for the number 3 seed.
Live coverage of the Masters rolls on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Defending champ Rory McIlroy and Sam Burns, the co-leaders at 5 under. Scotty Scheffler, Gary Woodland, 2 back. Baseball, Jeffrey Springs, 2 relievers combined on a 1-hitter. A's blank the Yankees 1-0.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Bush. Back to the wall, and it's Gunner. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers. This is the big show, baby. Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
We're going to talk some Mizzou transfer portal stuff. Nothing really as far as commitments yet, but Mizzou's been tied to some folks, including a former Kansas Jayhawk. How would you feel about that? You're a Mizzou fan. Call or text us, 573-875-KTGR. We'll discuss here on The Big Show with Andy and Brendan. We'll also talk about some other things being talked about in the college sports land, including, can we figure out who's eligible and who's not? And can we have a set standard? Seems the NCAA wants to update it. I think this would make a lot of sense. So we'll talk about that at 5:25 here on The Big Show. Also, some Chiefs draft talk. We're 2 weeks away from the NFL draft first round. So we'll talk about whether the Chiefs still have the same needs as they had a few weeks ago. 875-5847 if you want to call or text us. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Well, the Cardinals yesterday found a way to win the series over the Nationals in Washington, D.C. 6-1 the win against Michaelis, who left the game after 3 innings, and the Cardinals were able to get to the bullpen once again for the Nationals. That was kind of the name of the game this series for the Cardinals. After losing Game 1, they did exactly that in Game 2 on Tuesday night, finding a way to come from behind, winning it in extra innings, and then Wednesday securing a series win. That was a tough series win, considering the way that it started for the Cardinals. Pretty impressed by the way 12 games are 7-5. They're above 500. I don't think it's any one aspect of the team either that standing out to create this. It's just playing good team baseball and finding the winning moments where they can. I don't know if that's sustainable over 162, especially as you play some tougher competition, but so far so good for the Cardinals.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
It looks like perhaps we're going to get that Washington Square Park Royals Stadium. After all, there's a proposal now that could be voted upon in Kansas City by next Thursday. Calls for a big brand new stadium and surrounding district at the downtown site near Crown Center and Union Station, according to the Kansas City Star. Kansas City would contribute about $600 million of a $1.9 billion project. Yeah, this is just the name of the game now. The stadiums aren't always going to be funded by the owners of the teams, but if you want to keep your teams, that's kind of the situation that you're in. And look, I think the Royals in downtown KC would be kind of cool.
Number 3.
No big happenings yet in the transfer portal for Mizzou men's basketball, although there is potentially a guy from Kansas, Bryson Tiller, a Jayhawk that could end up coming to Mizzou, has the Tigers on the short list and is reportedly going to take a visit. Yeah, I mean, Kansas is usually pretty good at basketball, as much as it pains me to say. I'd take him. I'd take anybody that Dennis Gates can get and do it under budget so that we can field a good team.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Mizzou baseball, 7 p.m. first pitch tonight here on KTGR and KTGR app as the Tigers take on South Carolina for what I do believe, again, is $2 beer night at Taylor Stadium. So, yeah, you can listen on the app, but just get on out over there, huh?
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Oh, my Masters draft is not looking so great. John Rahm out there looking like true Rahm, and Bryson having a real tough day as well. We will rally around. I guess Patrick
That's
Reed.
the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Oh, yeah, 875-KTGR. You want to call or text us. Yeah, you had the Shambo. Oh, man. Did you see Bryson?
I had Bryson and John Rahm
trying to dig out of that bunker earlier today.
He just kept hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. 2 hours
apparently
later, that green
that
still
3D
had
printer
sand.
club didn't work out for him. He's probably going to have to Go and make a new one tonight in the hotel room. See if it works tomorrow.
I thought they would clean up the green a little bit. There was still sand sprayed everywhere, like hours after his unfortunate mishap in that bunker. And so he's way over par, probably not going to make the cut. I don't know what's been going on. I saw a shot earlier from John Rahm where it was so far into the bushes that I think he just hit another one. Like he was never going to be able to find it. So things are going well. But the guy that I kind of like was halfway regretting as I drafted him was Patrick Reed. And he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, he's doing
3
good.
under par. So
3 under.
We got him. And we got Tommy Fleetwood. He's under par. That's it.
Again, I think Fleetwood is going to end up being your best guy this weekend.
I need him to make a charge for sure. And I actually have a parlay in my jurisdiction of legality for Reed and Fleetwood to both finish in the top 10. If that happens and I lose the Masters draft, you know what? That is just a trade-off that I'm going to have to be willing to make.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
well,
come on, Tommy. Let's get there.
Rory's doing well for me. Seemed cool.
Yeah, he had a good day
out there. Seemed just fine. Morikawa. What happened with me, I picked Colin Morikawa and Victor Hovland as my quote-unquote safe picks. Like, these guys will be fine. Like, make the cut. That's the whole goal. Make sure you get guys that are staying through the weekend. And they are the fact that others have kind of done worse around them has saved them a little bit. I think both of them for now would be making it, but Hovland was not there when he finished his round. Neither was Morikawa. And so they're kind of lucking out a little bit for now. And Morikawa apparently told Marty Smith afterwards, yeah, I've never been more nervous for a round in my life before this morning. And so that's not great.
Wow.
That's not great.
Well, he's been dealing with injury though, right? Like
yeah.
he's kind of not super confident in his physical game right now. So that's honest though. That's certainly a good quote to get if you're Marty Smith.
Yeah. So see if he can bounce back one day later, but either way. And then the producers, I mean, Scotty's been fine, and Xander Schauffele is right there too. So they've got two pretty strong ones to lead off there. No one took Sam Burns apparently though. That was our mistake.
Sam Burns would have been the choice. Justin Rose doing a nice job for you right now. But yeah, I was looking at Billy's team and thinking he had it made in the shade, but Cam Young didn't have a great day. Scheffler is not racing out. Like he birdied like the first 3 holes or something. Was 3 under par really quick.
Yeah.
And has kind of piddled around the rest of the day. And I thought Robert McIntyre would be a nice pick for Billy. He hasn't had a great day. So we'll see. It could come down to just having as many of our guys have good Fridays as possible to see who makes the cut. And if you have multiple golfers that don't, that's probably going to be what tanks it when it comes to our Masters draft.
Yeah. So we'll be following that. Obviously, more of an update tomorrow. We'll maybe have more of an idea of who is going to be making the cut as they play through tomorrow. But we'll be tracking it here on our Masters draft on KTGR and the KTGR.
It's been awesome, though.
Yeah.
To watch some of what's going on throughout the day. And the Masters does an awesome job of like the coverage of it, where some tournaments, it's like, I can't find anything at all. And the Masters, like, just go to our website. It's free. You can watch whatever you want.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The event itself, is great. Like, you do not need to hide anything. There's been a little bit of consternation of how ESPN's done it, of like, why is Kevin Hart here? Why is Jason Kelsey here? All this, and it's like,
I honestly, I've watched it on masters.com where like I can just pull up different things, and I've kind of had that on my phone or my laptop throughout the day. And from signing up for Power Mizzou, I do have Paramount Plus now, and they've got like a whole thing all day long.
Yeah.
So I've had that on all day. So shout out Power Mizzou for whatever that I guess when they went over to 24/7 sports.
Yeah.
It's the same company. So it's working out pretty good.
Get that. No, that's been a game changer. It's been good. So very many ways to follow the action, and I just wish, I've been able to check in every so often from my desk when no one's been looking, but it's been good.
I just pull up on a computer, pull up on your phone, just kind of like take a peek.
Yeah. Just, every so often. Oh, hey, Roy birdied again. No, he didn't actually do that. He's in the clubhouse right now.
He's done, but he's tied for the lead, so good for him.
And Justin Rose is still out there. Scheffler actually is still out there, too. By the way, Gary Woodland, it's awesome that he's taking part in this, too. I mean, when you talk about his story, I know it's a Kansas guy, but he's been pretty, I mean, his story of what he's had to overcome. And right now, he's 2 under. Yeah, he's right there next to Scheffler. Like, that could be a very strong story if he hangs around this weekend and puts together a strong finish. So, I'm rooting for him for sure. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. Maybe folks around here will be rooting for another former Jayhawk. I don't know.
That is where I draw the line.
Right, okay.
I will root for a Jayhawk once they wear the black and gold. That's all I need.
That may end up happening. Who knows? But Bryson Tiller, 6'10" power forward, redshirt freshman this past year, I think, for Kansas, but played in every game and I think was a main starter for them for a lot of the season. Had a great game against Mizzou, I know that, and is in the transfer portal, has put together a list, a Final Four, if you will, and Mizzou's on that list and is reportedly going to get a visit. That's meaningful. He also played before at Kansas. He was an overtime elite guy when Tim Fuller was there.
Yeah.
So
come on,
maybe.
Let's have some good things happen. Yeah, he 7.9 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game. That's a solid rebounding mark for a freshman who looks like in the minutes, like he played a good amount, but there were definitely times throughout the season where he was getting more in like the lower 20s when it came to minutes, and so he wasn't always out there. Season-long average of 6 rebounds a game, like can use some rebounding prowess like that and more size, and he's listed on ESPN 6'11", 240, so like got a little meat on him as well. I think that would be solid to get a guy like that. This is such an uncomfortable time when it comes to the portal because when you haven't gotten anybody yet, there's rumors about who your team is talking to or who they're interested in. It could go any number of directions, and like you want to start seeing, you want to start seeing the ball go in the hoop. You want to start seeing those graphics being posted of so and so is signing with the Tigers. That's what we're looking for.
Bat signals. You want that? Des Gates.
I want
get
that.
The bat signal out there. Tiller's a guy. I am very intrigued by the profile he would give on what you're talking about, the rebounding and maybe even the defensive presence we'll see there. The offense, he had some good offensive games this year. Down the stretch of the season, it kind of leveled off a little bit and or maybe even dipped down, you could call it. Didn't score in the game against St. John's when they were ultimately eliminated, when he played 26 minutes. Still got
he only shot 2 times too, though.
Yeah.
It's not like he, had a 0 for 9. He was 0 for 2 from the field and was just kind of out there doing some Jacob Cruz cardio, I guess. But I don't know. St. John's is a really good defensive team, so I'm not going to. But like that would be part of a reason, right? Like if you're Kansas and you're like, hey, our season ended on this game. This was a guy that within that game, we didn't view him as a marquee scoring option. Like a lot of times decisions can be made based off of things that trend in that direction, and then it shows up in the biggest game of the year. You think about T.O. Barrett. I mean, look, I did that come down more to money? What exactly is going on behind the scenes there? But he's looking for greener pastures as well after he was, not utilized heavily in Mizzou's final game of the season. So it could be an opportunity to say, hey, look, we're not going to overlook what he brought to the table, Bryson Tiller, in the previous games. He's certainly a talented player and a guy that comes with a pedigree, and we think we can get more out of him. And you go after guys like that.
Well, Mizzou just needs guys that they can feel very comfortable starting in their front court today. And Tiller absolutely fills that. He's not a Mark Mitchell, at least right now. He maybe gives you a better, again, like the presence, the rim protection, the rebounding abilities. Like you've got good, solid foundations there that you can stick in your lineup and be like, okay, I don't really need to worry as much about losing what I've lost in that department. The scoring maybe comes a little more consistently is the hope. And Mizzou maybe can bring out a little bit, because that was maybe a little bit of the case with Mitchell too. Very highly touted prospect going to Duke. And whether it was guys being in front of him, not allowing him to blossom, or he just couldn't develop his game enough offensively there, but came to Mizzou and clearly did that. Maybe that's, what you see in a guy like Tiller that you're trying to identify right away. And again, he's no commitments yet, not for sure coming, but that's kind of what you maybe foresee with a guy like him to come here, even if he's a Jayhawk.
Yeah, and there's other names that, they're reportedly interested in. It's just you cast a wide net, I would have to think, at this point in the process, because for every couple of guys, you're like, oh man, Mizzou's interested in this guy's interested in Mizzou, but there's 3 other programs, right? Like take Tiller, for example, that are also trying to get him in big name programs as well. So be able to get guys to sign on the dotted line. We know they need starters. They certainly need it in the front court. That would be like a sigh of relief to go, okay, there's a guy that had the pedigree to go to Kansas and play meaningful minutes for them throughout the season. I think he had 5 blocks in the game against Mizzou as well. So you like that defensive intensity that he may be able to bring to the table. You just want to see some of those commitments start to pile up, and then you get a better feel for what you have and what you still need.
And look, Mizzou needs the front court desperately. 2 starters there, because look, you do not want to have to need starting Tony Bryant and Trent Burns. They can develop into that eventually. That's fine. But
if they do it on merit, that's even better, right? Like, they earned it because they made improvements to their game, not we needed them because we didn't have anybody that was a better option. That's the rub.
Like, that fulfills part of that goal, is maybe getting a guy like him and being able to fill out. Maybe you find if there's a 7-footer available to you, obviously you try to go after him if he's going to fit the profile of a Sean Phillips. But like, Tiller would maybe fit into the bucket potentially of what Mark Mitchell could be if in fact the same type of offensive development comes. We haven't seen that part yet, but that's kind of what I look at when it comes to him. And to my knowledge, we haven't seen transfers between these 2 schools in this particular sport before. We've seen it in others. Women's basketball, it's happened for sure.
The Brown kid, right? Didn't he was here and then went to Kansas, or did he not go to Kansas? His brother was
you know
Kansas.
What? You're right.
Did he spend a little the time? The one we had spent a minute.
Parker Brown is who you're talking about. Christian Brown is who's in the NBA now. Parker Brown, he did go to Kansas.
Spend some time there. So that was going from us to them.
I can't remember if that was directly from Mizzou. In between, he went to Santa Clara. So he went from Mizzou to Santa Clara, and then he spent his last year at Kansas. So eventually he got there, but there was a stop in between. And
he didn't, play a ton there. It was not a huge factor, but just a disgusting choice for a person to make. But like, this can be rectified, right? You can do it in reverse, Bryson Tiller. You can go from the dark side to the light, and that's what we're hoping to see happen. I'd love to get him. Yeah, I don't care that, like, there may be this question of, he's from Kansas. How do you feel about that? Great. If he can play, I'm with it.
I think
and look, we can acknowledge.
Yeah.
Kansas has a good program, right? Year over year, they're always competitive. And so if the guy was good enough to go there, I'm not going to look down on that and say, I don't want him. No, I think he fits actually a need for the roster and showed enough as a freshman that I think could continue to develop, just looking at the numbers, to think that he could be a guy that would be more than worthy of being targeted. And look, you can look at the other programs that are after him as well. Like, that's always a way to kind of, I know we lean on in the high school ranks, we lean on the recruiting stars to figure out, who's good and who we should want. But then a program will offer that player, and then suddenly they've got more stars next to their name because Michigan wants them, or Alabama wants them, thinking about football. Arizona, Michigan, Miami, Mizzou are the 4, it looks like, for Tiller. So those are all NCAA tournament teams. In the case of Arizona and Michigan, they were playing in the Final Four. So that tells you something.
And like, if you're in that group, like you're seriously being considered too. Like, right?
I think so.
It's, and again, a lot of this comes down to the visits. Sometimes the first visit is maybe the more important one. Who knows? I mean, not every kid is the same, obviously. Some kids want to take all their visits, but there are a lot that are just blown away by the first school that gets them and tries to nail them down and be like, hey,
you get
buddy,
them signed before they leave.
Spots are filling up. You gotta let's decide. Obviously,
let's get you here.
Hasn't filled any spots yet.
No, we don't have spots filling up.
But
we got spots.
What? They got spots.
There's one with your name on it.
And look, I firmly do believe that Dennis Gates, like, I don't care what skeptics might think about it in the Mizzou fan base. I think Dennis Gates has very clear selling points of development that he can sell to other players. Like it'll obviously all be a lot of it is about money, but like, if you're getting the visit, then the money won't be that big an issue. Now, the sales pitch is the biggest thing. And you can tell a guy like Bryson Tiller, like, hey, here's what I've done for Kobe Brown and for Mark Mitchell when they came to here was what they did before they played for our program. And here's what they did after.
Yeah, none of the 4 teams getting a visit are offering Bryson Tiller to come play for them out of the goodness of his heart. They're all paying him. All 4 of them have a financial offer on the table. And, you're hoping that you can be competitive within that and then have the other things as the selling points to get him over the hump.
So we'll see. It's still very early in the process. This is the first week that the basketball transfer portal is open. It's open a little under or next couple of weeks, and then we'll see who Mizzou ends up with. But tied to a former Jayhawk after Bryson Tiller entered the transfer portal and is including Mizzou in his Final Four list of schools that he's considering. How do you feel, Tiger fans, about that and whether Dennis Gates can put together the transfer class he needs? 875-5847 here on The Big Show. You can text us at that number. You can also leave a comment on YouTube and on Facebook and tell us your thoughts on all of that. In the meantime, eligibility has been such a moving target over the last few years. That's an understatement. Is there finally clarity coming? It seems that there's a rule proposal out there that would create it. We'll get to that next.
The Big Show with Andy and Brendan continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Arbor Day reminds us that trees give us life. Unfortunately, more than 15 billion trees a year are cut down, and you can't grow a mature tree overnight. Advanced Tree Solutions does more than remove. They protect, diagnose, and plant the right way. Help save what matters. Respect your trees and replant right. Call Advanced Tree Solutions and give your trees the care nature intended. Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
Hey, construction dude, congrats on the killer contract in Cape. Sweet. So, how are you going to get that Mongo crane down to the job site? Here's a haul of an idea. Just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for heavy equipment hauling, too. Semis, dozers, RVs, goosenecks, farm and construction stuff, school buses, boats, bring it. If you use it, they can move it. Call the team they think you'll really love to meet. I70towing.com. Goosenecks. Give me some long necks.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Lose the weight or stop smoking with hypnosis guaranteed or your money back. No matter how many times you failed in the past, this hypnosis is guaranteed to work.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
Lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed, only $59.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, and stress eating. Hypnosis April 23rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel in Jefferson City. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Or Saturday, April 25th, Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 2 p.m. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
If you're craving something delicious, find your way to the Pasta Factory, where everything's made from scratch daily. Their fresh sauces, cakes, quiche, dressings, and soups are sure to tantalize your taste buds. And all pasta entrees are cooked, baked, and tossed to order. Don't leave without sampling those homemade desserts, lovingly crafted by Jason and Rob. Good. The Pasta Factory. Visit them at 3103 West Broadway Business Park, right in front of Walmart. Celebrating 50 years in business. The Pasta Factory, where fresh meets flavor.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
So call or text us with your Mizzou transfer portal thoughts. Still haven't seen any men's basketball commitments yet. Did see one for Kelly Harper. She sent out a bad signal yesterday. She got a former Michigan Wolverine to commit to Mizzou women's basketball. So that's good news there. It's Mackenzie Mathurin. I think I'm saying her name correctly, but she was highly touted freshman, like the 35th best player in the high school class she was in. And after one season where she was coming off the bench for Michigan, a team that did pretty well this year. I think they went to the Elite Eight and was contributing in that sense. Maybe she gets a chance to step in and start here. So I think that's a very solid start for Kelly Harper in the portal. We'll just see where Dennis Gates' first splash comes, because I think that it probably should come soon if you want to get the momentum you need.
I would like to see, like, I don't know. I haven't necessarily seen a bunch from anybody yet, but within the next couple of days, I mean, the portal's been open and you have opportunities to have these conversations. So let's get one signed up and go from there. It's kind of what I'm hoping to see soon.
It was a little different this week compared to the football transfer portal. And look, it's different sports. It's different timelines, obviously. We saw on the first day of the football transfer portal, though, like, hey, this guy's going here. And this guy's going to, Mizzou knew about Austin Simmons, or we knew about Austin Simmons.
Right.
Day one of the transfer portal opening. Here, maybe a bit more of a slow burn. It's kind of been a similar, like they've shifted back the portal a little bit to start after the national championship. Beforehand, they started after the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. So they did make that change. I think the biggest one that I've seen as far as a commitment was Estrella today, former Tennessee big going to Michigan. I'm sure there's been others, but that's the biggest one that I've seen so far. I'm a little bit surprised that it's taken longer for us to see commitments start to really roll in, but could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know when it becomes time to panic. I think the answer is when a lot of these names that you've been talking to start going other places, you can start to go, uh-oh,
yeah.
What's the pivot plan here?
So we'll see what Mizzou is able to get as far as visits for some of these players. It seems through the reports that they're going to get a former Jayhawk, Bryson Tiller, to take a visit, a 6'10" power forward, redshirt freshman for the Jayhawks this past year. We'll see how that looks. Now, might also be interesting. I don't think Mizzou's in any sort of situation here, but NCAA, it seems, is trying to fast track some eligibility changes which I applaud them for. I'm skeptical whether it will actually be enforced on the timeline in which they are hoping and as efficiently as they are hoping. But Brendan, this sounds sensible for what Ross Dellinger has reported of Yahoo Sports of what the NCAA is considering. 5 years of eligibility. You get 5 years to play 5 years. Over all this time, it's been 5 years to play 4.
That's not 5 to play 4. It would be a change where they would say you can play 5 years, and we're not going to deal with the waivers and the questions of, are we granting this, that, or the other because I was injured, whatever. It's just like, you know what? If you're injured, that's unfortunate, but you get the 5th year anyway, so it's all good.
Right.
Is that sort of the plan?
And if
here?
you're healthy the whole time, hey, you get 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing. Yeah. 5 years to play 5 years, either after your high school graduation or the time of your 19th birthday, whichever is earliest. But no waiver requests. Nothing that we've seen across all of college sports of what players are trying to get waivers for, medical hardships, red shirts, which, like for freshmen or exceptions.
Yeah.
There is apparently a small group of outliers in Dellinger's story that said those on maternity leave, like in women's sports, that could be one exception. That's fine.
Yeah, you probably have to adhere to that.
Military service or religious missions as well is what he listed in that small group of outliers. But it's 5 years to play 5 years. If you're hurt one of the years, tough. What
do you think of that?
I mean, I'm kind of okay with it. That's basically how high school works too. Like, I mean, you don't get an extra year of high school to play for your high school team.
If you get injured.
It's just unfortunate. You hate when it happens. I'm not saying like that, not trying to be too tough on that. It's obviously terrible, and I wish it would never happen. That is something that you have to move on from. And when you get, more mature into your college years, it is kind of a lesson that has to be learned and overcome in a similar way that maybe it was for your high school years. So I don't have much of a problem for that. It would suck for someone who misses 3 of those years because they have 3 ACL tears, and that's happened to players before.
And they end up with 8 years, and that's how they're 28 years old and still playing.
Right.
But maybe as much as there will be always a counterexample to say, well, that doesn't seem fair. We can all agree it's gotten out of hand with so-and-so getting a 7th year waiver, like Cameron Fletcher for High Point out of St. Louis just got a 7th year approved. I don't know the circumstances of why it took him 7, and they're the circumstances of why they were willing to grant it either. But too often we see those situations happen where it's like, yep, you're good. And then there are others where seemingly similar situation or even fewer years being requested, and those waivers get denied. The inconsistency of the process is maybe the reason the process should go away entirely. And everybody knows from day one, you get 5. And if you have an injured year, we're sorry about that, but that's why we're allowing for this extra year. And go nuts with it. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, because it's maybe the one way to put the toothpaste back in the tube, because we've seen the example of give them an inch, they'll take a mile. The waiver process, it's expanded each and every year. Now it's like, well, I was in the draft for the NBA. Can I come back and play? Oh, I guess you can. There's all these extenuating circumstances that we've continued to pile up, and now nobody knows really what the rules are and how they are enforceable. To just kind of draw a line and say, hey, this is what it is now. Take it or leave it, I think is good, because the incentive to try and cling to your college years has increased significantly with NIL, because those people that are otherwise, not good enough to play in the NBA or not good enough to play in the NFL, but their college team would sure like to pay them a few $100,000 to come back. That's taking away the opportunities from the up and coming players who aren't maybe getting the proper chance to develop in their own right.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would like every aspect of what Dellinger reported is being proposed, but I think I would like the 5 for 5 and call it done. And then we'll always know, almost no matter what, unless you pregnant, military service, or religious exemption due to, obviously the Mormon faith has their 2 years of service at 19 years old. And so that's going to be a little different. But other than that, that's just the rule. I don't know if they can do it because every other thing that seemingly has been tried has not been approved, but I would actually be in favor of this one.
I mean, yeah, that's the question, because they are trying to, it's not going to be finalized maybe next week. It's going to take a little bit, but they're trying to fast track it to have it be implemented by this next academic year. So like by the fall, their goal is to have this in place and to have the standard for everybody. I don't know if they need to grandfather in folks or whatever it might be, but
here we go. We're going to start with the grandfathering and with the exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, we're finally past I think we're past the COVID year period. I think we are.
You've always got one more COVID year. No
there's always
what
one straggler back there that was in college for 2020, but then has had 3 injuries since then, and they today still have like 3 years of eligibility or whatever it is.
Like a bird, like a really big bird came and pooped on their house one year, so they're like, I gotta have another year because that was emotional hardship.
That was very tough.
That was tough, and it was a really large bird, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
And the windows
You'd
were
have
open
no
too.
idea.
It was a whole mess. It was disgusting, truly.
Yeah.
And so they did. They needed an additional year for that, but enough is probably enough. Now, how would this impact transfers? I guess is my question. Would that remain? Because that's another big problem that people have with the current system is just the freedom that every single year is a free agency year for everybody. And that has been another aspect that's gotten out of hand. Is there anything in this proposal that would curtail that in any way?
So I'm not seeing it in this particular story. I think the NCAA is just focusing on the eligibility arm of this. Now, the president last week put out an executive order that addressed both.
I made an executive decision to not talk about that on Friday's Big Show because I think it just gets sued into oblivion and it doesn't get enforced anyway, just like everything else.
Well, that thing, what it is, okay, so you're either going to defy a presidential order or you're going to defy a court order. One of the two.
Right.
Take your pick.
Yeah.
Like that's what made it more, in that particular bit of news late on Friday, more and more confusing. And why I don't know if it would necessarily come to anything. I think it is notable that the NCAA is basically on the eligibility part. They're trying to push through the exact thing that Trump essentially tried to push through with his executive order last Friday on the eligibility part.
They met with all the people
there was
that
that
were the
round
stakeholders
table last month, which was like,
some of them were not. It's like, why is that person there? But some of them it maybe made sense for them to be there.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
This is college sports now. This is what we're trying to do. But like the NCAA saying this is the standard, like obviously we have doubts about what the NCAA has been able to enforce. But if they're clear about it and say, look, no more waivers, no more red shirts.
They're pulling a Nick
5
Saban.
years.
I'm not going to, so quit asking. And that's the rule. That's the whole thing.
Like
don't even ask.
Point to the sign. Here's the.
Yep.
Can you get another year? Point to the sign. This is what you get.
And says,
I
get
play
this.
5. Yes. Or if you're above 24 years old, you can't play. Sorry. Like
right.
That's the other part of this, which I think
it's called the get a job clause.
Yeah. Exactly. And it can also. Like, let's say, again, you've got a player that just wants to keep playing in college because they've been hard on their luck injury-wise, and they're trying to exhaust their eligibility as much as they can, and they know they're probably not going pro, and they want to stay in college and all of that. But the thing is, who
wouldn't want to play one more year at college, right?
But the thing is, like, if this is a player that is beloved and, like, has the brand and is very much a fan favorite type of player, and he's earning NIL money each and every one of those years, even the years that he's hurt, like it also lets you budget out NIL money a little bit better too, knowing that, hey, you know that you're not going to be you're not going to be paying this guy at all past this year. Like that's it. Like whether he stays with you or not is another question. But you know for sure that after 5 years, this is the cutoff point of when we're going to be paying this guy NIL. So, like, just having more clarity on this and not having to wonder in March or April if your quarterback's going to be able to play for you because that's when his court date is. Like, let's stop with that, you know? So, yeah, if I hope it goes through. I hope they get it done as soon as possible.
I would support it. Can I exhaust my one slew mention of the week to tie this into the conversation on Twitter this week? There was a Billikens fan who said, hey, if this happened, technically Robbie Avila could get another year.
Oh, man.
And Robbie Avila tweeted, I would never play for Josh Schertz again. I'd rather retire from basketball than put on a jersey for that guy's team. Continuing just the way that those two, the whole thing is a bit, but it's like they don't ever wink. They don't ever say like, hey, this is.
He didn't even put an emoji in.
No, he did. It was a trash can emoji.
Okay. Oh, that one. Okay, he didn't put the wink emoji.
Referencing that Josh Schertz is trash. No, I don't think he winked. I think they did later come back and say we're joking. This was satire, but I found that funny. Josh Schertz replied, "Can someone look up addition by subtraction in the dictionary? You'll see a picture of Robbie Avila. Would rather bring back Gibson Jimerson for year 17 than do a 5th year with you." That's pretty good stuff. But like, I would wonder what would happen to guys who, it's a rarity nowadays, but like they played 4 years, they stayed 4 years, they were good for 4 years. For the fall, this new rule comes into effect. Would those guys then retroactively get spots? I don't know what they would do with that, or would they say, enough is enough, sue us if you want to. You'd be part of the next, the next lawsuit like the NIL. They all said, hey, we didn't get NIL. We would have during our era had it been in effect.
Yeah.
Eventually the lawsuits have to end, but I don't know what they would do with grandfathering in, as you mentioned, Andy.
Well, I mean, we're talking about players that have played 4 years, and if they get a chance at a 5th, if this changes, I mean, technically that's Mark Mitchell. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, like,
I think they would say, starting with now, no more Charles Bediakos, no more, enough is enough. If you exhausted your previous ruled eligibility by that point in time, I'm sorry about that. Like, they do run the risk of a lawsuit, right? To say, well, you now have a rule that I didn't get the benefit from in your institution. What do you do about that? I don't know. But this is the name of the game nowadays. Is there's a lawsuit, there's a waiver, and I think this is a common sense plan to try and say, we get it. There are circumstances that 4 years isn't enough, and so to just make it even, let's do it this way. I look forward to the ways that they try to poke holes through it, but it seems on the surface like something that makes some sense.
So call or text us with what you think. The NCAA trying to curtail the eligibility standards. 5 years to play 5 years after you graduate high school or after your 19th birthday. So that means you couldn't play more than 5 years at all in college. No waivers, no red shirts to extend out that time. You can't play past the age of 24. Call or text us, 875-KTGR. You want to weigh in on that. So do we feel the same about what the Chiefs need to do at number 9 as we did 3 weeks ago? We'll get to that next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Kansas City has put together a proposal to build a new stadium for the Royals at Washington Square Park downtown on the Missouri side. Kansas City Star reporting that the proposal would give $600 million of public money to the $1.9 billion project. The plan cannot be officially approved until as early as next Thursday by the Kansas City Council. Meanwhile, the Royals have been through a multiple-year search for their new stadium location after confirming that they will no longer be in Kauffman Stadium past 2030. On the field, Royals host the White Sox tonight. It's at 6:40 first pitch at Kauffman. Royals just lost 2 out of 3 earlier in the week to the Guardians. Cardinals won their series at the Washington Nationals 2-1. They're 7-5 to start the year. They're off today. They host the White Sox this weekend. And Mizzou baseball begins their next SEC series against South Carolina tonight at Taylor Stadium. First pitch at 7. You can hear it on KTGR. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with the Boone County Office of Emergency Management, reminding you to be Boone County ready. Sign up for Smart 911 emergency alerts at ready.boonemo.gov.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking increasing clouds this evening with rain and storms moving in after midnight. Expect a soggy Friday. We'll start out morning temperatures in the upper 50s with highs only making it to the 60s. Showers and storms work from north to south, exiting the area by early evening, leaving us with mostly cloudy skies. We'll drop into the low 50s by Saturday morning. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
On Simmons Field.
Swinging a ground ball, hit past third and the left. That's a base hit.
And across the SEC.
Fastball, swing and a miss. He struck him out.
The Tigers are ready to roar.
There it goes. Long drive, deep right field. That is gone.
This is your radio home for Mizzou baseball.
The Tigers win this one in a walk-off here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Stop smoking without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. That's right. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight and let Mark Patrick Hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings. Hypnosis Thursday, April 23rd, Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Or Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis, 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
We're trying to save people money. Go.
What if we cut sandwiches into thirds instead of halves?
We could stop buying warranties and just hope.
What about switching our toilet paper to half ply?
Ew.
It doesn't take a terrible think tank to save money. Just shop at Family Pawn. They've got jewelry, electronics, tools, and gifts for way less. No sacrifices, no half-ply TP. Ugh.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
The nominations are in. Now it's time to pick the winners. This is the final week to decide the winners for Inside Columbia Magazine's Best of Columbia 2026. Vote up to once per day for the businesses and places you love, including Best Tattoo Artist, Best Plumbing Company, Best Barbecue, Best Realtor, or Best Live Music Venue. This is the final week to vote for the businesses you love most. Best of Columbia 2026 starts with you. Voting ends April 12th at InsideColumbia.net.
To you, they're basically invisible. Tiny, weird, winged insects. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Not exactly. You see, while you're living your best human life above ground, there could be up to 1 million termites foraging for wood underneath your home. Steve's Pest Control needs you to know that termites are a serious problem. Like up to $5 billion a year serious. Oh, and that homeowner's insurance you've got? Yeah, termite damage isn't covered. In Missouri, it's not a matter of if you're going to get termites, it's when. A termite queen can lay over 20,000 eggs a day, and their colonies could house up to 1 million termites each. Upgrade your 5-star service with Steve's to the 5-star Advantage plan. In most cases, for less than $1.50 per day. You can show those termites that the Centricon system and Steve's Pest Control are a serious threat too.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Do-it-yourself projects are getting a lot more popular, and that's great. Some things you got to leave to the pros, like welding. Think of it like watching your favorite team and yelling at the guy who biffed the play that you so easily could have made. No, you couldn't. Or you'd be out there doing it. Leave the sports to the pros and the welding to Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. Repair work to custom fabrication. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. Kretsch'sCustomExteriors.com.
Play it or plunge it with Brian Ware Plumbing.
The bathroom made my wife cry, so I said I'll just DIY. I'll fix this on the first try. Why? I watched a YouTube video. Whoa, now I think that I'm a pro. Whoa, I'll have the stupid toilet fix. Whoa,
on the Brian Ware Plumbing Facebook or Instagram page.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Wow. Look up. Only 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. What do you know? We're almost there, Brendan. Didn't even need to make sure that we filled with mock draft content all the time, even though we're going to do that right now. 875 KTGR here on The Big Show.
It's always there. Always a possibility, especially in a year where the Chiefs are picking in the top 10.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, maybe we should discuss this more. I feel like we hadn't discussed it enough. But, I mean, how do you feel? Like we have discussed it in the past. I wonder if time can pass and you feel differently about these sorts of things, because you just have all of these weeks leading up to the draft. I'm like, well, what if they do this? What if they trade up? Do you feel the same as you did 3 weeks ago of what they need to do with that pick?
Yeah, because I think 3 weeks ago, I wasn't necessarily sold that there was only one right answer. Like, I think they're picking ninth. I see at least 9 really quality players, and maybe there's a tier break after 7 or 8 of them, but like someone could drop toward you and you just catch the player that's there that is the best available within a few different position groups. Like, I think if they were to add somebody at the edge rusher spot, that would be valuable if the right talent is there. I think secondary is viable. So, yeah, like, I'm not going to say no to a Caleb Downs if he's there at number 9, even though he's a safety. If there's a corner that you love, maybe that fits better at the end of the first round with the second pick they have. But I don't know. Wide receiver, like, if they've got one that they love, I don't think it's wrong to take that player at 9 if he's there. I just think there's a lot of talented players, and it's not really a draft where, other than Mendoza is going to go number 1, it doesn't seem like there's just a real clear hierarchy 2 through 8 necessarily. Teams may surprise you, and if they do, I would love to think that the Chiefs, just like I thought 3 weeks ago, could be their position to take advantage of, whatever may happen ahead of them.
So I largely feel the same way, with maybe a couple of tweaks, because, again, free agency has kind of largely played out now, and we know what the Chiefs added there. We also, I think it is notable to point out that I think over the weekend, this was made clear by Adam Schefter, that the NFL, it looks like they're not going to suspend Rashee Rice for whatever the latest allegations might be saying about him at this point. Not to say they didn't do anything wrong. It's just to say that the NFL has done their own investigation and they didn't find wrongdoing themselves that was worthy of another suspension. And so it would seem that the Chiefs can expect to have Rashee Rice available, barring health, nothing off the field that's going to keep him from playing this year. At least
nothing off the field that has been reported upon
that we know about
to date.
Right.
There's always something that could surface that has not yet.
Sure.
That's not me implying that I know that there is, but I've seen it happen a number of times. So
no
nothing
doubt
would shock me.
And if something new comes out, then the NFL has every right to reopen it and reevaluate and see if they need to suspend him. For now, though, I feel a little bit better about the Chiefs wide receiver room for this year. However, I would still, like, if Carnell Tate's there, yeah, take him. I'd be cool with that. I'm still kind of in the best available player category when it comes to 9, because no matter what happens, there will be a can't miss guy that falls to you at 9. Even without the Caleb Downs angle to it. Like, sure, it can be Downs, but I think you can still even go to one of your more premium positions and still pick a guy there, because all of the mock drafts, they at least have one of Reuben Bain or Sonny Styles or Downs or one of those other tackles, like, falling to the Chiefs. And I'm even opening up the possibility of, I was not open to this about a month ago. I'm even open to the Chiefs feeling like if they really like a tackle that falls to them, okay, fine.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I think that's right.
Like, because look, Jawan Taylor is no longer here, and obviously there were clear concerns about his health, and I think that was pretty largely played out by the contract that he's apparently getting from the Falcons, which is like just a prove-it deal 1 year, $5 billion with incentives. Like, okay, maybe that was the right move for the Chiefs to move on from that. But like, how do you feel about Jalen Moore on the other side there? Do you want to make sure there's competition? Like, I would feel fine with the Chiefs saying, hey, Spencer Fano just dropped to us. We can't let him fall any further. Like, okay, fine. I wouldn't love it, but I can understand it a little bit more now. But anybody else, like, again, all those other positions, like, I still feel the same way of, like, the Chiefs are going to have a can't-miss guy that falls to them at 9, to the point where, like, you don't have to trade up, but even then, like, if you wanted to use some of your capital to get a true blue chipper that you know is not going to hit, not going to miss, then you even have a chance to do that.
Yeah, I don't see trade up as a thing to me. Because of what you said, there's more than 9 names that you think are really, really good. So it makes sense to kind of stay right where you are and see how chaotic the board ahead of you can get. And gosh, maybe if you're lucky, teams are trading up for players that you don't want. You know, like you'd like to see Jeremiah Love, I think, go in the first 9 because you kind of made your decision on running back. You signed Kenneth Walker to the big contract. So those sorts of things, I think, allow the Chiefs to be very flexible at 9 and almost no matter what should be able to win the draft based on what they do at that pick.
Well, that pick for sure.
Yeah.
I feel good about what they can do on the back end also. They've got a good amount of picks, but then I do get interested in, like, okay, how do you maybe maximize to improve some of your standing there? Like, I could see a trade up from 29 very easily with what they've got in their disposal. We'll see. 2 weeks out. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now. Mizzou Baseball at 6:45. Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions, and they want to remind